Hey, everybody. Welcome to Hattrick's Unofficial Flyers podcast. I'm Rick Mullen. I'll be your host today. And this is going to be a recap of the Flyers versus the Washington Capitals. Um, Great game for the Flyers. It was really nice to see a win tonight. Flyers won 4-1. It was a different game because they came out a little flat. They weren't looking too good in the beginning. Urson was actually getting a start, and Urson looked good. He played a good game. Yeah, I think he had like a .955 save percentage for the night. He actually looked good, and it's exactly what we needed from our backup goalie. Vlad can't do all the games, and Urson, when he came in from previous games, didn't look too well. And tonight, he actually changed that. He looked good. So it was nice to see him get a win. Um, Crazy game tonight, right? Flyers came out a little flat. Washington went up 1-0. And it was one of those games where the Flyers started out slow. It was just a slow beginning for them, but the team did look a lot different tonight. When we were looking at the game, it just you could tell there was a little bit of difference. Like there was a little more cycling in the game. They were playing more towards the slot during the game. Their power play looked a lot sharper. It was actually they were moving just like we were talking about yesterday on our other podcast. The Flyers actually did some cycles. They actually were changing positions. They had a couple quick change positions on the right side, throwing a pass to the slot, and we got some one timers in that slide. So it was actually nice to see the team actually looked like they had a plan of attack. They had a strategy, and they were able to actually pull off some plays, and it looked good. I mean, I think they scored one time on their power play. I think they were like what 1 for 3, which is okay. We'll take it. But it was just better just to see the plays actually developing, watching the players actually look like they knew they had to move instead of stand still. It was nice to see the cycles on that power play. It was a tough game as this thing went by. And it was a typical Tom Wilson losing his mind kind of game. Tom started physically trying to abuse some Flyers. He hit TK really hard, dropped him. Zegers went over to him a little bit, and you could see Zegers was thinking, I don't know if I want to touch this guy. And before he could, I think Sanheim jumped him. Or it was nice. And a little bit later, Tom's still mouthing around, and Coots actually got wrapped up with him, and that's crazy. But who else sat here tonight thinking, "Oh my God, we need D'Lo. We need D'Lo. Where is he at?" And D'Lo is not here anymore. I mean, the only Flyer that may have a chance just to kind of hang in there a little bit with Tom and not for too long would be Sealer. And Sealer did go up to Tom and had some words with him. I think they exchanged some words, and I'm not sure exactly what was said, but I'm sure Sealer kind of said, "Hey, why don't you calm down here a little bit," or something along those lines. And good for Sealer, but really nice to see. You saw a game of after all this stuff happening, Wilson getting carried away and going out there and trying to crush everybody. It looks like the Flyers got pissed off. They really did. They looked like they got pissed off. They were tired of getting manhandled, and they went out there. I think it was like the second period, and they started hitting. They started checking bodies. They started getting under the other team's skin. Grabenkin was just killing people tonight. He was ratting them out. Every time he went in the corner, he would hit them, or he'd stick them, or say something to him, point fingers at him. So Grabenkin was on fire. He was trying to really make a difference tonight. Really nice to see the boys actually stick up for each other, and that goes a long way. I think some teams don't stick up for each other, and somebody gets hit, or they start getting beat up or leaned on a little heavily, and they cave. It's like whatever, and they don't play as hard, and they cave, and they lose games. The Flyers didn't do that. The Flyers said, "Nope, we're not going out that way." And all these star players stepped up. Our stars. I'm not going to say they're huge stars, but our star players actually stepped up and said, "Nope, we're not going out that way." Tippett was an animal tonight. He was skating hard. I think he had one or two breakaways. He almost had one or two more than that, but he was stripped maybe last minute. He was throwing checks. I think Tom Wilson was coming in on him, and he saw him coming from behind, and he did a reverse hit. Tippett was throwing the body, skating hard, getting shots. If Tippett could play like this every night, it would be great for the Flyers. And he did get time when the Capitals actually pulled their goalie. Tocchet put him on the ice and let him get some time out there to try to net an empty netter. And he did. He got an empty net goal, and it was a well-deserved goal. Tippett played hard. He deserved that goal. And, I was rooting for him the whole game. As soon as I saw he was, tearing it up and doing everything you could ask for, I thought, man, I hope he scores, because you give a lot of effort, you don't get a goal or a point. It's not, horrible, but you feel a lot better knowing that, yeah, I put it all out there and I'm walking away with a win and a point. So good game for Tippett. Good game for Gulbenkian. Drysdale looked good again today. It was really good to see him. He actually walked the line a little bit and held the puck for one or two more seconds than I was thinking he should have. But here he was just waiting for the lane to open, and he throws a wrist shot on net and he scores. So Drysdale was doing some really good stuff defensively from an offensive standpoint. Tippett and Zegras, they had a really nice breakaway. Yeah, Tip actually jumped around a guy, but kind of got, I guess, tripped up a little bit and almost went down, but got back up to his skates, I think, from his knee. And we thought he was on a breakaway, but he had a Capital on his back, like right on his back, and he's trying to skate as hard as he can. And Zegras is pulling ahead of him on the left hand side, like real close to each other. And he pops it up to Zegras, and the two of them are taking off with guys on their backs. And Zegras is just about to get poke checked maybe from behind, and he dumps it back to Tippett. And then Tippett's just about to get poke checked from behind, and he does a little saucer pass over the stick of the defender to Zegras, and Zegras buries it bar down. It was great play. It was really good to see, and it was a heck of a shot, heck of a play, and tic tac toes to each other, down the ice from our blue line almost. Great play. So nice game tonight. Just this is a real quick wrap up. It's just going to be a recap of the play. Flyers look good. Flyers had some structure. All the things that we were complaining about the night before, it looks like Tocchet had made some changes and did some adjustments. Definitely going to give Tocchet some kudos here. He must have listened to my podcast and said, "Oh, Rick's right," and let's start moving around on this power play and cycling a little bit and getting that puck towards the slot and getting some high quality shots instead of going down the boards the whole time. So anyhow, that's what I hope he did. I hope he did listen. Anyway, good game. Real good game. Nice to see everybody step up and actually stick up for each other, get some goals. Nice seeing Ersson coming in and doing well. The Flyers have a game tonight against Minnesota and Bobby Brink. I think in the after game, somebody had asked TK, how do you feel about playing Bobby tomorrow? And I don't have the exact quote in front of me, but it was more something like, I'm looking forward to it, Bobby. I'm coming for you. So TK threw the gauntlet down. He's coming for you, Bobby. But it's going to be a good game, hopefully tonight. The Flyers, are going in underdogs. They had back-to-back games here. Minnesota's on fire. I think they just beat. God, I forget who they played, but they won the other night like 5-0. So they're on fire right now. They got a really good deep team, and they have a good goaltending, and it's going to be hopefully a good game. Hopefully the Flyers don't get blown out, but they're definitely going in as the underdog tonight. So with that said, everybody, thanks for listening to this episode. Again, our mailbag is open. Send us an email with any ideas for the show or questions. It's Hattrick with an S, Hattricks podcast 99 at gmail.com. We can also be found on Spotify and Apple and YouTube. So try to search us there, and Hope you guys are all giving this a listen, and we'll put another episode out probably tomorrow or tonight after the game. With that, go Flyers. Let's get a big win out in Minnesota.